What's up, everybody? Big news. Georgia Tech lands five-star offensive lineman Josh Petty over Florida State, Ohio State, Georgia, and many others. We're going to take a look at the film. We're going to talk about what this means and what's next for Georgia Tech recruiting on today's episode, live edition. Appreciate you watching on YouTube and listening in on all platforms. Swarm Talk here on the Grata Booth.
Pile in here and make yourself feel at home. Coming on the Crowded Booth with Bryce Koon.
I'm fresh off the practice fields here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I had to rush back to home. It was 5 million degrees outside. Obviously, the big news, and we're talking about it here tonight, whenever you're watching or listening to this. Josh Petty picks Georgia Tech. If you watch the stream over on On3, Chad Simmons, their director of recruiting, did a fantastic job talking with Petty about why this decision was made. But I will tell you this, even the bigger news, we got Ralph Leary in the background. Shout out Ralph Leary in the background. Alex Wanasimi has not been here in a while. But let's talk about what Josh Petty brings to the table. We're going to go and we're going to take a look at this. We're going to look at the tape because Petty is, and I put my crystal ball in earlier, about 4 or 5 days ago, I guess it is now. But the Roswell, Georgia product out of Fellowship Christian School, 6'5", around 270. This is a monumental pickup. This is the first 5-star, and 24/7 Sports said this, the first 5-star for Georgia Tech in the modern recruiting era. Which obviously, you start to kind of look at some different things. That's what 24/7 Sports said, not my own words, but that's what they claimed and said. So really excited to see that Georgia Tech has made a mark in recruiting. Like that is huge in terms of what you have to do. Getting Josh Petty, not only, and let's set the record straight here. There's going to be people that try to sit here and tell you, well, he wasn't a take, well, he wasn't this and those. No, this is Georgia Tech. This is Brent Key. This is Jeep Wade beating out other programs. This is J-Bat. This is Georgia Tech's the Tech Way Collective, the NIL program beating out other top-rate programs. And we're not just talking about, a couple, a solid programs. You're talking about Florida State, ACC champion last year, Ohio State, a perennial playoff and national championship contender, and Georgia, the most successful program over the past 3 to 4 years. Georgia Tech keeps a kid home in the Atlanta area, and they get Josh Petty. I did want to talk about this. A good friend of mine, Gabe Brooks over at 24/7 Sports, a scouting analyst, had this to say when he saw, and this is people are going to love this comp, when they saw Josh Petty in person. This was actually, he evaluated him on August the 1st, so just a couple days ago, 11 days ago, in fact. He reminds the 24/7 Sports staff of Tristan Wirfs out of Iowa. That's the pro comp they're going to be giving him. He says a high-level offensive tackle prospect with outstanding functional athleticism fostered by impressive two-way snaps. We also know he plays a little bit of defense as well. He's got an obvious mean streak, a motivated drive blocker who also climbs to the second level with relative ease. Very young for the 2025 cycle. He just turned 17 years old today. Naturally high center of gravity, but cognitive leverage, firing off and engaging defenders. He needs more consistent measure of pass probability, but functional athleticism suggests ample potential, and he will face a significant jump in competition going from the lowest level of high school ball to a high major level. But he's been consistently dominant at multiple positions and promising. That's where I want to start with this. And we're going to take a look at the tape here in just a little bit. If you're going to be a dude coming out of the lower ranks of college, of high school football, you have to dominate it at a level where you make it look easy. That's what Josh Petty does. So for all the people that might come, and sit here and say, well, he's a lower level guy, we got to see what he does. He dominates. Like it's like the old adage of, well, you don't play anybody. Well, you may not play anybody, but you're dominating your schedule. And that's all you can really ask of Petty at this point. So this is a massive pickup in terms of not just what you get in a player. Like this is a cornerstone type of pickup. It's going to push the 2025 class into the top 25 of the rankings, pushing them closer to a top 20 ranking. It's going to show also, if Petty has success at Georgia Tech, it's going to unlock the floodgates for Georgia Tech recruiting in Atlanta. We've always talked about, and you've heard national people, Josh Pate said it a couple years ago when Jeff Collins got the job. Other people have said this. It's a recruiting gold mine, but you have to be able to willing to show that you can do that. And when we sit here right now, and we sit here on August the 12th, 2024, this is super, super important to look down the road. Josh Petty committing to Georgia Tech could be a milestone, could be a mile marker for any future recruiting success you have. Here's the foundation, and you just found a big, big piece to your puzzle in 2025, and you're building, and you're building quite the 2025 class. Now, before we get to the tape, Ralph's going to have the tape here in the background. I'm going to walk you through some of the plays that stand out to me. Shout out Jeep Wade. Like, Brent Key did a fantastic job. But talking with people who are in and around this recruitment on both sides of the recruitment, Jeep Wade has surpassed a lot of people's expectations. You know, came over from the group of five level. You helped put together the top rushing offense behind a good offensive line last year. And now you're turning around and you've got to be able to not just push what you need in terms of the chips in on a 5-star, but you close them. And the ability to close, I think that just stands out about what Jeep Wade did. So shout out to Jeep Wade. Fantastic job in this. I wrote this in the article, and you can check it out at creditbooth.com completely free. And I'll tell you a little bit of how it got done, and I'll say it here too. When Petty and his family went on the visit, this wasn't a one-on-one that cinched the deal. Yes, talking with Brink, he was a major factor. He told On3's Chad Simmons that. This was a total organizational buy-in to understanding what it takes to compete at the recruiting at the next level. I'm going to say that again. Getting Josh Petty to commit to Georgia Tech was a total organizational effort from top to bottom, from Jay Batt, the donors, to Brent Key, to Jeep Wade, and the entire coaching and support staff. Hats off to them, because this is a massive, massive win, and it puts Georgia Tech on the map and increases what we always talk about. It increases that brand value, and other players are going to take notice. All right, let's really quick, Ralph, let's pull up these highlights, and let's take a look at what we've got here, because I think we're going to look at the tape, and I want to walk you through some of the things that could be monumental just in terms of what we're going to talk about. So, Ralph, go ahead and hit play on that. Look, Josh Petty, he cares about school. You can see right there, 4.14 GPA. But this is some of the biggest thing. He is a road grader. I mean, you kick off a play like that right there. You see his ability, nice footwork, and that Gabe Brooks talked about, the ease of getting to the second level. I think that's what's massive in not only his size, but that's what's massive in terms of his development. I love seeing what he was able to do against competition. And once again, you might say it's an inferior competition and it's going to be a massive jump. All of those things are true. But this is what you do. When you have a guy that is widely regarded as one of the best in the country, regardless of where he plays, your job as a staff, if you're Jeep Wade, if you're the O-line GA, if you're Brent Key, is let's get him to campus and let's mold him and let's help him make up that gap, because there is going to be one. It's going to be a sizable difference from him playing at the 1A level in high school. And Ralph, you can correct me. I do believe Fellowship Christian is single A in the GHSA, to the ACC. It's going to be there, as it would be for anybody. But your job is to not nitpick around that. Yeah, you don't necessarily totally worry about star rankings. But what you're going to sit here and look at is say, hey, that's a premier talent. Let's get him on campus and let's mold him, because Petty has the frame. He's got the aggressiveness. He loves to, block down the field. And I just cannot get off of what Gabe Brooks of 24/7 Sports said when he talked about it's a guy who has a mean streak. Does that not fit what Brent Key wants in offensive line? Does that not fit what this entire identity of this team is going to be? Yes, we talk about the high flying, the Haynes King, the Eric Singleton. But at the end of the day, when we go back and we watch what Georgia Tech did in the bowl game against UCF, when they ran the ball like 25 times in a row, this is why you want a guy like Josh Petty. Run blocking, I think, is a strength right now for him when he gets to campus. He's going to work on the pass sets. But the good thing about it is when you start to look at the talent that's already there in the offensive line room, and you also start to look at the remaining pieces of the class, you have to feel good about where things are going, just in terms of stacking classes. Hats off to Jeep Wade. Hats off to Brent Key and this entire staff. Going to be very interesting. All right, Ralph, we're going to get here to this. Ralph, you can star a bunch of comments. We got over 174 people watching. We appreciate you. Like the video, subscribe to the stream if you have not already. Let's keep going. Let's keep going here because we've looked at the tape. We've talked about who Josh Petty is. And Ralph, now for the final kind of segment of this shortened show, and then we'll get to some questions. What's next? Like, what is next in this class for Georgia Tech? Well, you've got, obviously, you have an offensive line class that has really now, and I think the best way to say it is, you got the top 20, you have a 20th ranked class in the country per 24/7 Sports, headlined by 5-star Josh Petty. You have a corner who has risen up the recruiting rankings in Dalen Pinson. Very impressed with him. You have, some pieces in this class, Phoenix Felton. You have the kid out of Raven Gap. You have J.P. Powell, Rashawn Dinkins, Isaiah Groves, Carrington Coombs. Like, you have some nice pieces. The problem, and I won't even say the problem is now, is can you find another piece? Like what's next? Can you find another piece? So I really do believe, and I put in a crystal ball last night, and I'll just go ahead and give you my spiel on it right here. No paywall, nothing here. I think that the next domino to fall, the next big one, is 4-star defensive lineman Christian Garrett. Christian Garrett decommitted from Georgia, in the past 24 hours. Georgia Tech has been hot on the trail. We already have seen, and I'll just let you in on this, NIL is there for Georgia Tech now competitively with other people. Let's just call it what it is. Georgia is going to stack a defensive line and edge room. Garrett has been continuously pitched by Georgia Tech as, yes, you can go there and be the fourth option. You can come here and be the guy, and it's still a good football player. And I think that's one of the big reasons that Christian Garrett's going to end up as a Yellow Jacket. Obviously, you get to play close to home. The pipeline that they're starting to build with Prince Avenue, Aaron Philo. Now you get a guy in Garrett. You got a couple other players in the roster that played at Prince Avenue. Credit to Buster Faulkner. That's a big piece to the puzzle that he plays, over there in Bogart, right outside of Athens. So I think overall, when you look at where this recruiting class is going, no reason it can't be top 18, top 17 here in the next month or so. And then you get into a situation of, and we were talking about this on the Discord, if you want to join in some great conversation, make sure you check in over there. You get into flip season. Evaluations change. Maybe Georgia Tech had a guy on their board they liked, but they didn't like him as much, and he pops off in his senior year, and now you have an evaluation change where you want to go get him. I will tell you this: I know he committed yesterday, but I think Jonte Gilbert is still a player they're going to look at. That is the way I will put that. Do I think he's going to end up at Georgia Tech? Probably not. No, but you're still going to keep tabs. You're still going to keep those lines of communication open. But this class is far from done. You got a lot of work done in the summer. You capitalize the end of the summer heading into 2024 with a massive recruiting win in Josh Petty. And now you get to enjoy the fruits of that, and you try to keep things rolling with, a guy like Christian Garrett, who all signs, I believe there's multiple predictions now, Ralph, both on 3 and 24/7, predicting Christian Garrett, including one of mine, to Georgia Tech. So this is a massive win for the Jackets. I really, really like this. I really love what they're able to do. And I'll just say it again. Complete organizational effort. There were questions about whether this would be able to happen. And I'll say this, there were questions about whether this would be able to happen at Georgia Tech in terms of stacking classes. They still have to do that. I mean, this is one recruit, and we're going to get excited about it. We're going to have fun with it. It's one recruit. But in terms of being able to show value to a 5-star, and not just pitch it, but close it. There were questions about it. I had it. I think every logical person, I'll put it that way, had this. There are 2 predictions, you and Hot Rod. I believe also there's a Fong Bomb predicting him over there on 3 too. Well, he works for On 3 now, Ralph, but who knows? But any rational person would have raised questions about this. Key and Wade and this staff have answered resoundingly. J-Bat has answered resoundingly. There's a push for seriousness at football. There's a push to be a competitor. There's a push to show brand value. And so kudos to this staff for doing that. It's exciting. We get to watch now what the on the field product looks like here in just 13 days or 12 days. I'm excited. I know a lot of fans are excited. It's going to be a lot of fun to kind of see how it rocks and rolls. All right, Ralph, we got a couple questions. We got a couple comments, and I want you to go back through and find some of them because, we'll see. Will says, here we go. Will Manis says, Key and staff proving wrong, and I love to see it. I'll say this. A lot of you think Will Manis hates Georgia Tech. He does not. He just loves antagonizing people that act childish about it. All right, let's keep it rolling. Rocksteady says, okay, Bryce, enough of the backhanded compliment. Not sure what you're referring to there. But let me know. All right, we'll keep it rolling here. I mean, are you writing? Talking about him playing in single A. Rocksteady, that's not a backhanded compliment. It's a fact that he plays in single A, and it's a fact that people are going to question his ability to perform in the ACC. Once again, can't get offended by what the truth is. A couple more comments here. David said, does Josh open the floodgates to additional high-level recruits? Well, yeah. I mean, I think you got this in before. I think Christian Garrett's the next one to fall. Like, I think that's going to be the next domino that we're going to see kind of to plant here. And Rocksteady says as well, he believes that we're going to flip Garrett from Georgia, speaking on Georgia Tech. But this is huge. I mean, this is a massive, massive and Dr. Bob puts it so well. Dr. Bob, we got to get lunch. How much of this is Coach Keyverse improved funding of the athletic department NIL? This is a great question. This is what we'll end it with. And Ralph, I'm going to start another one that I think is like kind of a two-parter question from Dr. Bob. So you can put that up. But is it much more of key, or is it a organizational alignment? And I will tell you this, from talking with people around the football program, and also just around the athletic department, this is top to bottom in they're in step with each other. There's a clear vision. There's a clear goal. There is communication that's happening clear about what it's going to take for Georgia Tech to not get left behind. And so I'll say this one hats off to Jay Batt and this staff. From the time I said this and got blasted on social media, I said this might turn out to be one of the most important hires or consequential hires in Georgia Tech's history. And got blasted. People talking about John Heisman, Bobby Dodd. That's great. Kids today don't care about that. They care about certain things. And Jay Batt is turning Georgia Tech into a place where you can talk about certain things to be able to fundraise, to be able to get that brand awareness out there. So hats off to him. And it goes all the way down with you have a guy in Batt that is, no pun intended, going to bat for Key, being that guy out there that can make connections and network and do these things, and allowing Brent Key to coach the football program, which is what he is best at, and having those one-on-one conversations. So you have it's a cohesive movement together of a staff, and this is what it looks like. Like, folks, this is what a competent program does. And I'm so glad for a large portion of this fan base that you get to see this, because this is what this looks like. And it's exciting. There's a great reason for optimism, not just about 2024, but and beyond, about what can happen in the next round of realignment. This is from top to bottom, everyone involved. They're in lockstep with one another. So I'm excited to see it. I think a lot of fans are. And be excited. Like, have fun with this. Take this win. This is a lot of fun, and continue to let the good times roll all the way up to Dublin in 12 days. So this is huge. I really, really like about where this is going. And I'm impressed. I'm very, very, very impressed with the way they've been able to move along in just a short period of time. I mean, it shows you when they talk about, completely changing the image of a program. Georgia Tech is a prime example of that heading into 2024. And we'll see what happens. And you'll be able to check it out Thursday night. I'm going to be live with my season predictions. A couple things before we get out of here, because we've got a lot of people tuning in for the first time. I can tell. Over 250 or 241 people watching live. We appreciate you. A lot of people over on X, a lot of people on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Completely free for you to do. Great content. We talk a lot of Georgia Tech, but we also talk college football as a whole. Myself, Ralph Lyric, and Will Manis are going to be live tonight giving you college football playoff dark horses from each conference. Could Georgia Tech be one? I don't know. We'll see. But we're going to talk, obviously, every single Sunday and Thursday night, talk Georgia Tech, Monday and Wednesday college football. And we're going to have great content on the channel all year long. Hit that sub button, like it. Shout out to our partners at Believe. They do a great A great job, and we're getting close to Best Bets, brought to you by BetOnline AG as well. My name's Bryce Koon. It's Ralph Leary in the background. This is Swarm Talk, the number one place for you to find Georgia Tech content on the YouTubes. We appreciate it. We'll see you later. Thanks so much for watching. Catch you next time.
Pile in here and make yourself feel at home. The crowded booth is coming on. The Crowded Booth with Bryce Koon.